All right, both Honors Algebra 2 and Algebra 2, all of college algebra. This is your video for Tuesday the 9th. I am gone from school today, as you know. All of you will have received this either on Monday. If not, there will be copies of this available to you. Probably have to give it your own staple. Use my orange stapler at the front desk there. All right, so here is what I want us to do, because a lot of this, though Chapter 4 really begins the I don't know, less things will be a review. Less things will be a review. A lot of the first quarter had many review questions. There wasn't a lot of things that were new. Maybe the 3x3 systems were new in Chapter 3. Matrices were new. But now you're going to see a lot of things for the first time here on out, though we do begin with a lot of things that might be new. Now, what I need you to do, looks like these page numbers are labeled. There are a few things we can definitely do in a video, and the first one here is on page 7. Okay. Write each function in standard form. So standard form is this: ax squared plus bx plus c. You write the x squared term first, the x or middle term second, and your constant third. All right, so first out or enter last time on this. So if something is squared, I can write it twice, okay? 3x times 3x is 9x squared. 3x times 5 is 15x. 5 times 3x is 15x. 5 times 5 is 25, okay? So I'm going to combine like terms. 15x and 15x gives me 30x. 25 minus 13 is 12. All right, so, a little bit more aggressive FOIL. Here we got on the opposite of 2x minus 4 squared. So I'm going to put the negative sign on the outside. I'm going to use a bracket here. I'm going to write 2x minus 4 twice. 2x times 2x is 4x squared. 2x times a negative 4 is a negative 8x. Negative 4 times 2x is a negative 8x. Negative 4 times negative 4 is a positive 16. All right, then I got the plus 6 on the outside. Don't forget about that. Here we are. I'm going to combine like terms. All right, and that's going to give me a negative 16x. Now, everything inside that parentheses is going to be multiplied by a negative 1. Makes that a negative 14x squared, a positive 16x, and a negative 16. Now, negative 16 plus 6 is a negative 10. That's how that simplifies. I'm just doing some distribution, multiplication, a lot of FOIL. First out or enter last. All right, will be a lot of FOIL in Chapter 4 and 5. Here, just distribute 4x squared plus 12x plus 2x, 12x and 2x, 14x. That one was pretty easy. And lastly, D here, 2 minus 5x squared. Now, there's a trick. There's a way we can do, go from here to my answer. Obviously, we got this plus 12 in there. And I'll show that to you in class as well. Because if you want to take more, math classes, pre-calculus and then calculus, you're going to want to know how to apply the little trick here without having to FOIL everything out. 2 times 2 is 4. That's minus 10x. Minus 10x, a negative times a negative is a positive, and that's 25x squared. Don't forget about the 12 on the outside. Negative 10x minus 10x. Now, writing it in standard form means putting the 25x squared first. Minus 20x plus 16. All right, so page 7 was a good one that we could handle. I'm going to save all the graphing for when I see you again. And then there are plenty on, I think that's 10. We skip around a lot because this packet of notes used to be massive. All right, this is your traditional first out or enter last. X times x is x squared plus 8x minus 3x minus 24. Again, we're multiplying. Combine like terms, you got a 5x in the middle. 2x times 2x is a 3x, there's a 6x squared, plus 8x, minus 3x, minus 4. There we go. On 3, 5x squared, minus 25x, minus 5x squared. The x squareds cancel. You're left with a negative 25x squared. Then on 4, we got a 7x minus 28 plus 15x minus 3x plus a negative times a negative is a positive 15. Combine those like terms. 22x minus 3 is 19x, and that's a negative 13. All right, 7. 4x plus 3 twice. It's going to give you a 16x squared, a 12x, and a 9 minus 11. Combine like terms, that's a 24x. 9 minus 11 is a negative 2. You're probably right. Y equals. All right, then on 8, we had one of these on page 7. 1 minus 3x squared. I write 1 minus 3x twice. 1 times 1 is 1, minus 3x, a negative times a negative is a positive 9x squared. Don't forget about that positive 5. 9x squared is written first. A negative 3x minus 3x is a negative 6x. 1 plus 5 is 6. All right, and that's y equals again. Okay, so on number 9 here, I have the opposite of 2x minus 3, all of it squared. You can use just those parentheses or put it in brackets, that's fine. Make sure the negative's on the outside. Now distribute the negative here at the end. 2x times 2x is a 4x squared. 2x times a negative 3 is a negative 6x. Negative 3 times 2x is a negative 6x. A negative 3 times a negative 3 is positive 9. That's a negative 12x, and the negative sign is going to go through to that term, and that term, changing the sign on all of them. Don't forget about this plus 8 at the end. I'm going to write y equals a negative 4x squared plus 12x minus 1. So hopefully we've had a lot of review in the past with distribution and specifically here, first, outer, inner, last. All right, so that is a page that you guys can handle. Now, obviously, you're not done with that. Let's keep going to 17. Now, 17 is one that you can finish. It is Foiling review. It's just totally that. So I'm going to do a few here with you. X times x is x squared. X times a negative 7 is a negative 7x. 3 times x is 3x. 3 times a negative 7 is a negative 21. Negative 7x plus 3x is a negative 4x. That's the no term. All right, just first, outer, inner, last, this whole page. So I will have you finish this page, all right, on your own. 15x squared plus 9x plus 20x, I'm multiplying, plus 12. 9x and 20x gives you 29x in the middle. Always like terms here to simplify and combined. That's a 2x squared plus 14x minus 2x minus 14. 14x minus 2x is a 12x. 3x times x is 3x squared. 3x times 3 is 9. Negative 5 times x is negative 5x. Negative 5 times 3 is negative 15. At 9x minus 5x, 4x. All right, this is an interesting one here. So 3x squared plus 9x minus 9x. Again, the arrows mean multiplication. Minus 27. The 9x is canceled. Does the middle term cancel? Now what happened? That can happen. You might see that a bunch. Take a look at 6. If you see anything squared, I can write it out twice. That's 4x plus 10x plus 10x plus 25. 10x and 10x gives you 20x. On 15, 4 and 2 give you 8. Minus 12x. Minus 2x. A negative times a negative is a positive 3x squared. I'm going to write this in standard form. So the positive 3x squared gets written first. My middle term is going to be a negative 14x, then plus 8. And after that, folks, just finish this page. All right. You can do that. So page 17, I will want you to have finish this one on your own. Again, write it twice on 7, then go from there. Foiling review. All right, and as we continue, we'll talk about, so we got some new stuff there. Those solving equations shouldn't be that And new. Look at that, a FOIL and factoring review starting on page 26. Again, find each product, first outer, inner, last. X squared plus 5x plus 7x plus 35. Combine like terms with the 5x and 7x. This is on page 26. Just pause the video. You can find this page. All right, x and x is x squared plus 9x plus 8x plus 72. 17x is your middle term there. X and 3x is 3x squared. X and negative 4 is negative 4x. That's a negative 21x. A negative times a negative is a positive 28. 3x squared minus 25x plus 28 is our answer. And on 9, 2x and x gives me 2x squared minus 6x plus 7x minus 21. Negative 6x plus 7x is a positive x. All right. Again, just keep going. You know that you can write this twice. X squared plus 9x plus 9x plus 81. And the x's combined to give you 18x. Notice how that inner product, x times 9, is doubled. We'll talk about why it's important later. All right, on 10 and 11, the last ones I'm going to help you on with this page. Again, this is another one that you can finish. X and 2x is 2x squared minus 5x plus 14x minus 35 minus 35. Combine like terms. 5x and 3x is 15x squared plus 20x minus 9x minus 12. 20x minus 9x is 11x. Gonna get an interesting answer on 14. Negative 5x and a 5x, the x's will cancel. Those two are conjugates. We'll talk about what that means later. All right, now this should be review factoring. I'm gonna help you out with this. Okay, so I call these plus examples because you have a positive middle term and a positive constant. So now we're going backwards. I'm going to check it with foiling. All right, so factor. So what you're going to ask yourself is what multiplies to 15 and adds to a positive 8? What two numbers multiply to 15 and add to a positive 8? And those two numbers are 5 and 3. You could write it as 3 or 5. They're both positive because a positive 5 times a positive 3 is a positive 15, and a positive 5 plus a positive 3 is a positive 8. So that's it. That's how it factors. X plus 5 times x plus 3. The order doesn't matter. You can say x plus 3 times x plus 5 as well. Now you have to change 2. Boo-boo there. You got to change number 2. You got to make it. I was thinking of 7 as a factor, but nothing multiplies to 28 and adds to 7. That would not factor. So make it an 11. Now it multiplies to 28 and adds to 11. You always say, well, multiplies to this, and whether or not if it's a plus, you say adds to that number, positive 11, and that is 7 and 4. That's why I say x plus 7, because it's a positive 7, times x plus 4, because it's a positive 4. Again, this should all be a review of really the last 2 years, because I know you practice a lot of algebra and geometry as well. What multiplies to 30 and adds to 11? What two numbers do that? 6 and 5. Again, the order doesn't matter. That's why I switched to here. X plus 5 times x plus 6. If you wanted to FOIL it, x squared plus 6x plus 5x plus 30. 6x and 5x give you 11x. Now, we can come back and finish this one together. What multiplies to 8 and adds to 6? 4 and 2. X plus 4, x plus 2. 2 factors. What multiplies to 10 and adds to 7? Positive 5, positive 2. X plus 5, x plus 2 are your factors. Make sure you use parentheses. We're going to do more with that later. We want to find solutions. What multiplies to 35 and adds to 12? Positive 7 and positive 5. And on 13, what multiplies to 70 and adds to 17? Positive 10 and a positive 7. On 14, what multiplies to 72 and adds to 17? A positive 9 and a positive 8. Again, the order doesn't matter. X plus 8 times x plus 9. Or x plus 9 times x plus 8. And what multiplies to 36 and adds to 13? 4 and 9. Or 9 and 4. My two factors. Those are the easiest examples when everything is positive. You don't have to worry about any negatives. Now it's page 27. Next, we're going to go to page 28, to the very next page. The second easiest ones are this. So how in the world, so this constant is a product. How do you get a positive product but a negative sum? If you have a negative times a negative, that's a positive number. And a negative plus a negative will add to a negative number. So you're going to ask yourself, what multiplies to 42 and adds to a negative 13? So they both the 7 and 6 have to be negative. They both have to be negative. So like the last page, only your two factors on this page are both negative. What multiplies to 12 and adds to a negative 7? Negative 4 and negative 3. What multiplies to 24 and adds to a negative 11? Negative 3, negative 8. What multiplies to 45 and adds to 14? Negative 9 and negative 5. What multiplies to 54 and adds to a negative 15? Negative 9 and a negative 6. And lastly, we'll finish these up together. What multiplies to 63 and adds to a negative 16? Negative 7 and a negative 9, or a negative 9, or does it matter here? That factor is also good. X minus 9 times x minus 7. Now, maybe, so I call this easy factoring because it's just a single x squared, and you can keep asking yourself what multiplies to this and either adds or differs by this. Okay, we don't have to do any guessing by checking yet, which is going to come on page 30. We're going to do page 30 together. This, I believe, is the last one. It would have to be 29. Then, yeah, this is going to be the last page for us here. All right, factor. So here's what's going on. This time you say 1 multiplies to 35. That's not a positive. So 1 multiplies to 35 and differs by 2. What two numbers multiply to 35 and differ by 2? That is 7 and 5. 7 times 5 is 35, and the difference between those two numbers is 2. Now, one of them is going to be positive and one of them is going to be negative. That's how you get a negative product. So the middle term is negative, so my bigger factor, 7, has to be negative. Negative 7 plus a positive 5 gives me a negative 2. So here it's very important that the 7 is negative and the 5 is positive. All right, if I were to FOIL that out, that's exactly what I would get. So what multiplies to 30 and differs by 1? What two numbers multiply to 30 and differ by 1? 6 and 5. This time the middle term is positive. If the middle term is positive, then the bigger factor is positive. Positive 6 minus 5 is equal to a positive 1. So that's going to be a positive 6, and that's going to be a negative 5. Of the easy factoring, this would be the hardest type. What multiplies to 10 and differs by 3? What two numbers do that? 5 times 2 is 10, and 5 and 2 differ by 3. So I'm going to have a negative 5 and a positive 2, because a negative 5 plus 2 is a negative 3. There you go. We got 6 more here I will help you with, and we'll come back and we'll finish these up. But this will be a good start for some of you, or a good continuation if you're in 5th hour of this packet. What multiplies to 32 and differs by 4? What two numbers do that? 8 and 4. Middle term is positive, so the bigger factor is positive. The smaller factor is negative. Positive 8 minus 4 is a positive 4. Again, hopefully this is a big time review. What multiplies to 54 and differs by 3? 9 and 6 do that. 9 times 6 is 54. 9 and 6 have a difference of 3. Middle term's negative, so the bigger factor, 9, is negative. And then you have a positive 6. Negative 9 plus 6 is a negative 3. What multiplies to 20 and differs by 1 again? 4 and 5 multiply to 20, and they have a difference of 1. Middle term is positive, so that's a positive 5 and a negative 4. Positive 5 and a negative 4. And on 13, what multiplies to 70 and differs by 3? Multiplies to 70 and differs by 3. 10 times 7 is 70. 10 and 7, differ by 3. So it's going to be a negative 10 and a positive 7. Negative 10 plus 7 is a negative 3. And finishing up this video here, number 14 involving 30. What multiplies to 30 and differs by 7? 10 times 3 is 30. 10 and 3 differ by 7. Middle term is positive, so that's a positive 10 minus 3. 10 minus 3 is 7. And lastly here on 15, what multiplies to 15 and differs by 2? 5 and 3. 5 times 3 is 15. 5 and 3 differ by 2. Middle term is negative, so 5 is negative, 3 is positive. All right, and I believe that is it. Let's just quickly go through the rest here. You have a lot of ACT questions we are going to practice. SAT questions we're going to practice because we now know a lot more. We want to see how that test is beginning to take shape. All right, folks, that is it. That is your Tuesday notes, which I know you're all going to watch very well. And I will see you again on Wednesday. This is Yak Math Videos, signing out.